Okay, so before we begin, let's hear some commotion for the dress. I went shopping the other day and found this, and I've self-titled it The Bog Dress because I look like a bog witch. Hi, welcome back to Katie Can't Read. I'm Katie. I can read, and today we are going to talk about what I did read in the month of May. I read 9 books this month, DNF'd 1, finished 8. So that is a successful reading month in my honest opinion. Not my best, but also not bad. It was average. I didn't read a lot of showstoppers though, so it was really just an average reading month for me. I had a lot of 4-star and 4.5-star books, but no I think I only had 1 5-star new fave, which is good and fun and fresh, but I prefer more faves. Just kidding. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let us talk about it. So, I read 9 books, correct. I read 3,692 pages within those books. I read for 26 days of the month. I like to count how many days I read, but also, so usually I track pages and in my journal, okay? So here are the columns for every month, and then this is May where I wrote LOL. Oh, it's upside down. I wrote LOL, didn't track this month. Sorry, it be like that. I just forgot. So yeah, debatable if that's actually how many pages I read or how many days I read. We don't know. Let's dive in. So I actually truly was in a reading slump from all of April. But I finally found the book that pulled me out, made me excited to read, and it was Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, and I was shocked that a Star Wars book from the 90s is what finally pulled me out of my reading slump. I'm not surprised. I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. Do I know what happened in this book? Absolutely not. Did I give it 4 stars? Yes. It was the first book I'd read in a long time, though, that every time I finished reading, I just wanted to keep going. Every time I was okay, I have to walk home, or I have to go to bed, or I have to go to class. I was but I want to read it. And it kept thinking about it. But I don't understand what's happening in it. I know that Luke Skywalker is getting an enemies to lovers situation. So essentially, what is this? So this is the first book in a trilogy by Timothy Zahn. I didn't end up reading all 3 this month. I would like to continue the series. But essentially, this is a trilogy written by Timothy Zahn in the early 90s. And it takes place after Return of the Jedi. And it's kind of what the sequels... before there was ever a sequel trilogy or even a prequel trilogy, it's kind of what was supposedly happening after the end of the original trilogy, until Disney bought Star Wars and threw it all out. So for a really long time, these books were canon, and now they're not, and it's a whole lot of drama that I know a lot of people who don't care about. But essentially, these books were kind of the quintessential Star Wars book in the 90s and early 2000s. I remember hearing about these when I was a kid, growing up as a Star Wars fan, around Star Wars fans, and I had never read them, but they've always kind of been in my circle. So I finally read it, was kind of obsessed with it. I'm gonna read the rest of them. I don't know what happened though. I just vibed and I loved it. I will say though that I am upset, but this is just because it's written by a man in the 90s. But I think that if Han and Leia are married, and have been now for years, you would think they'd have at least one quasi-romantic interaction. I'm not looking for dramatic love scenes, but a kiss would be fine. Okay, but it was a good time. I had a good time. It pulled me out of my reading slump. I loved it. The next book I read was the first book I read for my ARC reading vlog cards. And that was, I got to listen to One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I actually have it in physical now, so I can show it to you. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I got to listen to this, as you know, in my ARC vlog, and I really enjoyed it. I initially gave it 4.5 stars. And I think it might be more a 4 3.25 situation, maybe a true 4, because I'm not an audiobook listener by nature. I get very checked out really fast. It is nothing against audiobooks. I think they are wonderful, and I think they work for so many people. They just don't work personally for myself. And I think that when I read it in physical later this month, I will like it more. Interested to see how that goes. I just feel like there's a lot of things I personally missed when I read it, when I listened to it, that I think when I see the words, I will do better with liking it. But I do truly really like this book. I think everyone should read it. It just came out. Happy Pride. Go read it. Just came out on Tuesday. Go get it. Go get your copy and go read it. So essentially it is about August, and August is looking for a city that is finally as cynical as she is, so she moves to New York City, and she is a young 20-something living in New York City, and she has a subway crush who she finds out is displaced in time. That's all I'm going to tell you. There's found family, there's humor. If you liked Red, White, and Royal Blue, I think you'll like this, but don't go into it thinking, oh, I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue. I will objectively love this because of it. Like, they're very different books. I will say that the one thing I really love about this book is that it's about a young 20-something living in New York City, and I am a young 20-something living in New York City. And I just think that that experience is really well translated, and that's what Casey McQuiston did the best in this book, was translating the wonders of being young and relatively broke and just deeply in love with where you're living, to the point where riding on the subway is the most magical part of your day. Like, that part of it was so true and so accurate. And there were some quotes that when I listened to them, I said, ooh, because they were about living in New York City as a young person. And I was like, they're so correct. So I'm very excited to reread this physically this month and annotate and highlight and tab and have a good time. The next book I read, I'm not going to go very deep into the next 3 because I have a vlog where I go really deep into it. But the next book I read was actually probably my favorite book of the month, and that was If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzales and Cale Dietrich. I read this as an ARC from NetGalley, as you saw in that vlog, and it doesn't come out till December, but put this on your lists. Add this to your pre-orders. Do what you need to do. This book is incredible. I gave it 5 stars. I had a really good time. It's a book of It's so good. It's about these 2 boy band members who fall in love, and that's really all there is that I'm going to say about it because you saw my vlog. In the vlog, I do compare it a little bit to Red, White, and Royal Blue, but not really. I feel like in terms of pacing and scale and magnitude, it is very similar, and I feel like if you like the aspects of like the size of Red, White, and Royal Blue, you'll like If This Gets Out. I think everyone should read it, though. I think I'm going to be pushing it for the next 6 months. Next book I read was also for that vlog. It was also an ARC through NetGalley, and that was Kind of Sort of Fine by Spencer Hall. I gave this book like a true 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I don't think that I was profoundly moved by it. There were a few things I didn't really love, but I do think it was a very good book, well written. I enjoyed reading it while I was reading it. And I liked a lot of it. Is it a favorite? No. Am I probably going to buy it in physical? No. But I did really like it, so it's a true 4-star for me. Watch the vlog for all my in-depth thoughts on it. Oh, it's about these 2 friends, and they are in their senior year. Well, it's about these 2 kids, and they don't know each other. And they become friends their senior year. Standard coming-of-age story, but there's a little bit of like, I feel like this is a good book for any person that ate lunch in the choir room, drama room, band room. Like, if you had a room in high school that was like kind of arts-based and you spent all your time there, it's a good book for you because these kids are in the TV production class. So, and they spend a lot of time doing TV production things. So that part of it, I think you'd like it. The next book was my one DNF this month. If you saw the vlog, you know what it is, and that is Sunny Song Will Never Be Famous by Suzanne Park. Not a fan. I just think this book wasn't for me. I DNF'd it, as I said. I think when I turned in my NetGalley review, I gave it 1 star. because I made it far enough into the book. I made it like 70% of the way, where I felt like I could leave a review and like it wasn't like, oh, I copped out 10 pages in. Like, no, I knew enough to give it a review of why I didn't like it. And I essentially just didn't like the way it was written. Hey, I'm trying to film a video. Stop honking. I didn't like the way that it was written. I didn't like Sunny Song as a character. I thought she was unbearable. I eventually drew the line at the way that, I don't know. There was just like a lot of things that I just wasn't a fan of. It was predictable. And above all, it was preachy. I firmly believe that if you want to spread a message as an author, you don't need to shove it down our throats. You can show it and not tell. So the second it's like, hey, did you know that social media is a plague and that all content creators are fake? I'm like, whoa. Not only are you incorrect, but you're shoving it down my throat and not trying to let me decide that. You are forcing that decision that you have made as an author onto all of your readers, and I don't like it. It's happened to me a couple times this year with YA books that are written for younger YA audiences, and I just don't appreciate it. Like, and I'm not saying authors can't have a point of view about things. I think they should have a point of view. I just don't think that their book should be used as a PSA, you know? I don't know. That's my personal taste, though. I know a lot of people don't mind it, but it's my personal taste. Let it be more ambiguous. Let us decide how to feel about it by the end. So the next book I read was my number one reread of the one reread I did this month, which is weird. I usually do a lot more rereading. But the one reread I read this month was Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. And I'm going to talk about both of these kind of in tandem because the next book I read was Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. I tabbed it. I was actually going to vlog this, but then I was reading it and I was like, no, I just want to enjoy. So I gave both of these 4.5 stars. I've decided that these are like a 4.5. This is a 4.5 star series so far. Just because I really like it, but there's a lot of things that I'm not as I'm not as drawn to. For something to be a 5-star series for me, there's got to be like that oomph, and this just doesn't have it. But what is Call Down the Hawk? So Call Down the Hawk and Mr. Impossible are the first two books in the Dreamer trilogy. Call Down the Hawk came out in 2018, and this one came out last month in May. The third book is coming out next year at some point. I can't remember when. I think she said next fall. Anyway, I have to wait a really long time, and it's quite the cliffhanger, I will say. I'm a little bit annoyed with the cliffhanger, but I did thoroughly enjoy these. So essentially they're about Ronan, who is one of the main characters of the Raven Cycle. And if you're new here, you know that if you're not new here, you know I love the Raven Cycle. If you're new here, hi, I love the Raven Cycle. Favorite series. And Ronan's one of my favorite characters in it, so it is about Ronan. It's about Ronan and the Lynch brothers, and they are figuring stuff out. I'm not going to give too much away, but it's very different than the Raven Cycle. It's definitely more of a new adult series in terms of like grittiness. There's nothing in it that's like new adult. It's just like very darker, grittier. It's the theme, I guess, of the series is what happens when you, like, what happens to magic when you grow up a little bit, when you get older and things get more complicated. That's kind of the story that Maggie's trying to tell. Because in the Raven Cycle, magic is this very beautiful thing. It's very whimsical, very fun. Whereas this kind of shows the darker side of when you get out of high school, when you're in college and magic has a different effect on you. That's kind of what it is. So it follows the Lynch brothers. There are references to the Raven Cycle characters. There is a cameo from a Raven Cycle character who I'm not going to say who it is because there's some spoilers associated with it, and I know that I for sure have one person who doesn't know sort of the outcomes of the Raven King, and I would like to preserve that. But yes, I really do enjoy these books. I will say that the end of this one is oh so frustrating. This is the series where you're just like, Oh, Ronan. I'm worried about that boy. I am worried about Mr. Ronan Lynch. Like, I am watching what he's doing in these 2 books, and I'm analyzing his little POVs, and I'm reading what other people who are slightly smarter than me are saying about these, and I'm watching things go down, and I'm worried about our boy. Worried about our boy. But I will say this book is probably one of my favorite Maggie Stiefvater books I've actually read. Because of the way it's written, it's very beautiful. I felt very transfixed when I was reading this. I felt like I didn't exist, in the best way. Like, I really was in it. And I was writing it, you know? And then at the end, I was frustrated, and but in the right way, like in the way that you're supposed to be. It was a really good book. It was a good middle book. I love a middle book, and this was a really good middle book. I was frustrated because it kind of went in the same direction that Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell went, where there's the central couple of this book I really wanted like more from, but I feel like in the way that like that book did, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're struggling right now, but it's because it's the middle book and they need to get to a certain end point, and they're going through stuff and they need to figure it out. And it's one of those things where if you're looking for the fluffy moments, you're gonna miss the things that are actually happening to this couple. So that was something I did appreciate. I think it's really fun and cool. I think this series is really good, and I will recommend it if you like the Raven Cycle. And even if you're like, Raven Cycle is like medium for me, I'm like, maybe not this one. I feel like this is very specific, and I like it, but I don't think everyone will like it. And I'm very excited to see how the 3rd book turns out, because I like the way this series is heading. I'm very excited for it. That's all I have to say. And then for our last one, I'm not going to go too much into my thoughts on these because there is a vlog coming out next week as soon as I can finish the last book of this vlog. But essentially, I've done it. I've started. My one goal, I had many goals, but the one that I decided to keep is that I will read every single Shadowhunter book this year. And it's started. It has begun. I have read officially City of Bones, which I gave 4 stars, and City of Ashes, which I also gave 4 stars. And I'm currently halfway through City of Glass, and I am doing it. I'm not going to give you any general thoughts. I will wait for that vlog. But there will be a vlog coming out next week where I read the first 3 and I tell you all about it. I do need help though. If you are a Shadowhunter expert, please, there's a pinned comment that I'm going to leave on this. And on that pinned comment, I don't know which 3 to read next. So here's what I'm doing. I'm attacking it in trilogies because I can't stand like leaving like in the middle. Like, I know that people are like, the best way to read it is publication order, but I don't want to jump times. So please, if you are a Shadowhunter expert or like a medium level Shadowhunter stan, please tell me, do I read the Infernal Devices next, or do I continue with the last 3 in the Mortal Instruments? Pinned comment, let me know. But yes, vlog next week. Very good time. Having a good time. And then because I don't think this was unbearably long, I will be going a touch into my June TBR for you. So, on the June TBR, for sure, we'll be reading One Last Stop. I would also like, if I have time, to reread Red, White, and Royal Blue. I would like to read these kind of back to back to really get some good Case McQuiston style. I would also like to tab these and have a really good time. But if I don't get to Red, White, and Royal Blue, that's totally fine with me. I will also be reading Nimona, which is a graphic novel that I am buddy reading with a friend of mine. for the Alice Oseman read-along that I am hosting, which you should join. Also, I just want to say really fast, thank you guys so much for the overwhelming love for the Alice Oseman read-along. We have like so many people in our Discord server, and it's really, really fun. I'm very, very thankful for how this has turned out. But what we're reading right now, we are reading Heartstopper. I don't have my other 3 volumes with me right now, but I definitely have this one that just came in, and so I will be rereading this in about a week. I'll be reading all 4, and then we'll talk about it. Live show on, I think Elise is hosting the first one. And then after that, I will be rereading Solitaire. I'm very excited to reread this because I reread it I read it for the first time last summer, and I didn't love it. I felt very neutral on it. And it was because it felt very dated, and there were a lot of things in it that were very triggering, but this got updated recently to make it much more palatable and much more updated for a modern age, and it's very exciting to do that. I have other things I'm reading. Of course, I said I'm reading City of Glass at the current moment. I will also be reading a lot of other things. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below if you're looking for ways to hang out with me or support me or whatever. All of those links are in the description box down below. And Alice Oseman read along. All of the information's down below. Tell me what your favorite book you read this month. Please, I would like to know. Because I'm always looking for recommendations. Also, happy Pride to all the people who celebrate. And just know that you are valid and you are loved by me. I will see you in the next chapter. Bye!